CBS News in Washington, this is the CBS News Night Watch. And here again is CBS News correspondent Charlie Rose.
Gallaudet University here in Washington is the nation's only university for the hearing impaired. It has never had a hearing impaired president since its founding in 1864. Students had hoped such a precedent would be set with the naming of a new president. It didn't turn out that way. The school board has named Elizabeth Ann Zinser as president. Of the three finalists, she was the only one not hearing impaired. The selection has prompted a chorus of student protests. This morning, we hear from both sides. Dr. Zinser joins us from North Carolina. That's where she is currently Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at UNC Greensboro. Serving as her interpreter is Ed Schroyer. Greg Hlibok is the student body president at Gallaudet. His interpreter is Janet Bailey of Sign Language Associates. I want to welcome all of you here because clearly this is a controversy that involves a lot of people who care about education and who care about a sensitivity and understanding of what it means to be hearing impaired. I want to first turn with the notion that what we're here to is to try to understand how people feel about this, and perhaps through that have a greater understanding of where it might be going. First, Greg, you, tell me about yourself. How long have you been hearing impaired, about your parents, about what Gallaudet means to you?
Okay, I have been deaf since birth, and I have grown up deaf. I'm from a deaf family. My mother is an alumnus of Gallaudet. And I've always looked up to Gallaudet College, well, now it's a university, since I can remember, because it's the only liberal arts in the world, liberal arts college in the world, and I've always looked up to that. And what happened 2 days ago, I don't know how I'm going to be able to look up to Gallaudet University now.
Why is it so important for you to have a hearing impaired president?
Because we feel that we need a role model. Everyone looks up to Gallaudet University. And once we have a hearing impaired president there, it's going to make things change. And many people will look to that deaf person as a capable person, someone who, if we can select a hearing impaired person, then that person's going to become a role model for everyone. Because we feel that we need to educate many more people, saying that deaf people are capable of many things.
Elizabeth Ann Zinser, you are highly regarded as an educator, Vice Chancellor at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Understanding the symbolism of this for some of these students who respect you, but care greatly for the symbol and for the role model, what do you say in response? I know it is an issue that you have grappled with.
Let me begin by saying that I would like not to have a conversation over the news with the students and the campus community there at Gallaudet University. I wish to have that conversation in person on the campus and have made that clear as we have made arrangements for these communications. But I would like very much to share with you my own enthusiasm about being invited to join the Gallaudet University community as president, my confidence that the future of the university is great, and my understanding that the university represents a tremendous symbol of greatness for the deaf community and is a great university in the higher education community in general. I definitely understand and appreciate the feelings on the part of some of the students and some of the friends of the university who are deeply disappointed that their 7th president is not deaf. But I do believe that as I gain an understanding with their help about deafness and deaf education and the deaf culture, and as I learn and develop a command of the language, that we will come to be friends and colleagues and move on with the business of what is one of the most exciting opportunities in my life, and certainly a university that deserves to continue to have the finest reputation throughout the world.
Having said that, and understanding and respecting your wishes to speak to the students directly and to be able to have that kind of dialogue with them, you must have given lots of thoughts to this, and how did you resolve it in your own mind to go ahead knowing that these questions were raised?
I resolved it in my own mind by believing in the Board of Trustees. Any Board of Trustees of a great university has the legal responsibility and authority to make a judgment about policy and about the selection of a president for the university. No decision is more monumental than the decision of the president of the university that concerns them. I have confidence in the Board of Trustees, and I know that they were acting in the best interest of the university. I understand that it was a very difficult decision, but I have faith in that, and it's in their faith in me that I approach the university with confidence and with enormous sense of privilege, again, in being invited to participate in the leadership of the institution in the decade ahead.
Yeah. But what do you say to this issue of the role model and that heartfelt feeling on the part of students?
I do understand that and believe that the deaf community needs more and more role models in policy making and leadership positions, and I would take it upon myself to be a strong advocate for that responsibility. Gallaudet University, now that it is formally named a university, takes on new and exciting challenges, one of which is the professional advancement of deaf individuals in leadership positions all across the country, and including, and most particularly, at Gallaudet University. I would consider it very much my responsibility to help to prepare for the future so that increasingly deaf individuals are placed in a position where they are able to command the positions of leadership within the policy-making environment.
Okay. Greg, clearly Dr. Zinser is a highly regarded university official and an administrator. The Board of Trustees had an opportunity to carefully consider people who were both hearing impaired and her, who was not hearing impaired. Don't you think they had the best interest of the university in mind when they made their decision and felt that this person had such superior qualifications that she was the perfect and the best choice to lead the university?
No. I want to point out that Dr. Zinser has not been invited by Gallaudet University. She was only invited by the Board of Trustees. And the Board of Trustees are not really ready to work with the hearing impaired president. I feel that they picked a hearing president for one thing. And we do not need a hearing president to lead the deaf community. We need to promote other deaf people. We don't need a hearing president to do that job. We could have a deaf president to do that job.
Okay.
And there's really no difference. For Dr. Zinser's information, she can't pick up and understand the deaf culture or deaf education and the factors leading to deafness. It takes a long time and a lot of energy, and it can take years and years. And since you have no deaf education or deafness background, it's not easy. It's not easy for you to understand deafness. It's going to take years. As you say, before this, it took you some time to understand us, and you're not going to be able to do that.
Right. Let me take a break, and we'll be right back talking about this controversy and this challenge. Stay with us. I had a hearing president at Gallaudet in the past, and it's worked fine. Why now? Why make this stand now?
Because now, well, what I mean is, in the past, the Board of Trustees have voted. Now that they have voted, we feel like we need to put pressure on that board, because we used to be very happy to have a hearing president, but Dr. Lee, for example, he did great things for us. Yes, that's fine, and that's enough. 124 years of hearing presidents, we feel, is enough. We feel that a deaf president, we're ready now. There's really no reason not to have a deaf president.
Would any of the hearing impaired candidates have been acceptable to you and to your colleagues in the student body? I don't mean to suggest that you necessarily speak for all of the hearing impaired at Gallaudet. I don't want to attribute that to you and whether you would want to accept that. But for you and for those of people who are active in the protest, would any of the hearing impaired people have been acceptable?
Yes, certainly, because either one of them would have had a lot of support from the students and many deaf people and the deaf community. That deaf president, if we had picked them, would have gotten a lot of support. And the most important thing is that that person would have been able to be motivated by us. And if that person had some weaknesses, then we could have respected that and asked to have people help him with that weakness and given them support. Also with Dr. Zinser, Dr. Zinser may need to have an assistant to help her with her lack of understanding of deafness.
Dr. Zinser is already taking sign courses. Have you had a special interest in the problems of the deaf before, Dr. Zinser?
Yes, for some time. I basically, though, bring to the university at this stage a broad background in academic administration. What my aim is, and I think what the aim of the Board of Trustees and the campus community is to provide the very best liberal arts education and graduate education and research opportunities concerning deafness and for the deaf and of the deaf. I believe that the university in its very special mission must have an individual who is able to bring a broad perspective from the academic background and from an administrative background that can help the university face the enormous challenges that are there in the years ahead. I do recognize and acknowledge very humbly that I do not know sign well at this time, that I do not understand what I need to know about the deaf culture and deaf education, and I am counting on the academic community there and the students there to help me learn. I don't have any illusions that that will be easy, but I do know that I bring a lot of other strengths to the university, and that for the university to provide the very best education for the students there at all levels, the elementary, the secondary, the collegiate, and through the graduate level, that there's a lot I can bring in helping the university assume its proper stand as a leader in the higher education community in general, as well as within the deaf community, which naturally it serves as a symbol of greatness for many, many people.
Let me raise this question with you, because I was talking, this subject has captured the attention of a lot of us who are not just curious about politics and foreign affairs and sports and show business. Something about this says something to a lot of Americans, and they respect you, and they know that this is a time that this country needs its best educators moving into positions of responsibility to run great institutions like Gallaudet. They also say, though, that this is a time in our country in which symbols are important, and there'll be another good university for Elizabeth Zinser to run, and here there is a heartfelt feeling on the part of so many students that the symbol is important. Why not respect their wishes on this and wait for the next call?
Yeah. The symbol is important, but the university's real responsibilities and the responsibilities of the president of the university, again, is to provide the leadership for the best education for the individuals and the constituency associated with that institution. In the best judgment of the Board of Trustees, they chose me for that role. I cannot comment, of course, and couldn't, nor would I, on the relative merits of all of the candidates that were considered for the position. But I do know that the Board of Trustees has the right and responsibility to make that choice in the best interest of the university. They have taken that action. I am personally privileged to be the individual invited to serve in that great role. But I also understand that there's a great deal of disappointment and hurt at the present time, and I hope that in time we can recover from that, and that the students, being, as I understand, fair and reasonable people, will be willing to talk with me and help me to be successful at Gallaudet University.
Some would say to you, Greg, why not try to work this out? The Board of Trustees has made its decision. Here is clearly a person that wants to make a difference. Why not sit down and try to work it out?
How? She is hearing. She's a hearing person. There's no way with a hearing person There's no compromise.
Okay, if you're not going to compromise, what are you going to do?
We will continue to demonstrate until the Board of Trustees gives up or until Dr. Zinser resigns. We feel that we have been doing it that way, and for them, right now, they need to listen to our way. They need to listen to us. So far, they have not.
I thank all of you. Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you and to share these ideas. Night Watch continues. Back in a moment.